this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about the emergence of the dungeon performer. So, in Dungeons & Dragons, we have the Dungeon Master. We've had them forever. They're epic, right? They're this new transformative catalyst for narrative experience, and really are on the cutting edge of narrative experience for all of humanity. It's one of the most important things that's happening. It's a new way of telling stories that is transformative, both to personal lives and to our culture, according to Joe Manganiello, right? And in my link below, you can see where he in a D&D Direct said, "Hey, Dungeons & Dragons is used to transform personal lives and correspondingly our entire culture." That is an absolutely astounding statement that we now live with. It's incredible. Right, so I want to talk about the Dungeon Performer. So what is the Dungeon Performer? They used to be called players, Dungeons & Dragons players. And when we didn't really understand the importance of what was happening at the Dungeons & Dragons table, when we thought it was just like this silly game and somebody cut a goblin in half, and it wasn't a powerful tool used to cut our own deficiencies in half, to combat our own deficiencies, to interact more robustly with everyone we meet, and to explore ourselves and our world and even the stars, right? It was you just refer to him as, oh, that's a Dungeons & Dragons player. That's a player, right? And I think really smart people were like, oh, that's a Dungeons & Dragons player. But now we say Dungeon Performer, and this is a distinct title, right? Where Dungeon Master means, oh, no, that's a Dungeon Master. That is the top tier of all tabletop role-playing game. That's not a game master. They're not running OSE or Pathfinder or something, sub, right? That's the top tier. That's the cutting edge of human narrative. That's a dungeon master, right? And we now have this new term, Dungeon Performer. So New BDM talked about people now referring to Dungeons & Dragons players as performers, right? And so what I really think is fascinating is this now we reach it, right? We reach the point where we say, okay, let's really embrace what's happening here. So you as the Dungeon Master are doing something incredible, truly incredible. It is incredibly important what you're doing, right? And you are creating, just like a shaman created for their tribe, just like Shakespeare wrote for the stage, just like Spielberg wrote for the silver screen. You are now writing the most important stories that any secular source has ever created for humanity, right? And it is having local impact and personal impact and community impact, right? But so we've understood Dungeon Masters for decades, but what is that Dungeons & Dragons player doing, right? They are putting on a performance, and that performance is truly incredible. So what is the performance that they are actually putting in, right? Well, that performance is truly astounding. Let's talk about the performance of a dungeon performer, right? So they are inhabiting an identity, right? And there are three other players at that table who are seeing how to project sorrow, how to project joy, how to project surprise, right? How to inhabit yourself as a person, and how to take on a new identity and freely swap out the best of yourself or the worst of yourself with this character, right? And everything that was done by SAG-AFTRA, right, by a SAG-AFTRA participant, is now being left in the dust as dungeon performers show. Not only can we entertain, but we can actually transform. We can teach. We can correct. We can improve, right? The people who are next to us. We can have a message. We can do something incredibly powerful. It is astounding how powerful what can happen truly is. So I really think, when you sit down at the Dungeons & Dragons player and you are a performer and you have a player character, right? You are doing the worst Dungeons & Dragons players are I'm going to try to advance to the next level, right? But other people are this performance that I am giving today be an inspiration, could be a source of sorrow, could be a source of poignancy, right? Could be a source of wisdom for every other person at this table. And when this story is told later, for the communities we live in. The dungeon performer is a truly inspiring and truly incredibly important, specific new source of narrative power, right? Just really, really extremely important as we move forward and reach this point of narrative power and narrative options and narrative utility, right? And the Dungeon Masters have been doing this for decades, right? What's interesting now is we have this title, this appropriate title, this capturing title, this solidifying title, saying you are not playing, you are performing. And the identity that you establish here, right, is going to be incredibly important and is going to be valuable, right? And that is important and powerful. And I think it's really interesting that we've reached this special moment where this is available. Every single word of that is my humble opinion. What's important is when I get to hear your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.